Welcome, weebs, gamers, and nerds alike. Summer 2024 is finally drawing to a close, and well, it was an interesting season. Yes, it had some pretty downright stinkers and some absolute garbage, but it did have some pretty dang good new shows. So in today's video, we're going to go through all of the shows I watched in summer 2024 and ranked them. I did my best to watch as many as I could, but obviously anime keeps growing and growing, so there's going to be shows I didn't cover. So let us know in the comments what you thought of summer 2024 and what your rankings are. And without further ado, let's dive into the list, starting off with Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. This kind of leans on that interesting category that I mentioned first, because it's cute. It basically follows a guy who, it's a romance show, and the girl that he kind of likes, that also kind of likes him, expresses her feelings in Russian because she doesn't think he understands Russian. However, he actually does understand Russian. I've only watched a couple episodes of this show, but from what I've seen, it's kind of fun. It's cute. It doesn't really pull on the heartstrings much, at least for me, but I can see where the appeal is, so I'm going to put it C tier. I don't think it deserves much higher, at least in my personal opinion, but it's not a bad show. The relationship between some of the characters, if you know, you know, are a little weird, and that seems to be a common trope in a lot of the romances this season, but it's not bad. Now we have the Terminator anime, Terminator Zero. This did something that Hollywood just couldn't do, and that's make a good Terminator project since Terminator 2. And by gosh, did Production IG knock it out of the park. They're off the tail end of Kaiju number 8, and Production IG did a fantastic job. The animation quality is extremely impressive. Some of the action scenes are very well shot and have that kind of like Vivi Fluorite Ice Song kind of just intensity and camera angles to it. They absolutely did amazing. The voice actors did great. We did watch it dubbed, which is fine. Dub is okay, everybody, okay? I might have just gotten a lot of hate for that, but Timothy Oliphant did great, and it's like 3 lines as the Terminator. A lot of surprise characters, but all around, this is just a fun time, and they did a great job, kept you on the edge of your seat, wanting to watch more, and I think this is one of the best Terminator projects we've had in a very, very long time. So with that being said, I think it deserves A tier. I think it does. Next, we have Kengan Ashura Season 2 Part 2. Now, once you get used to the animation, like I've mentioned before on this channel, it's actually a fun and entertaining watch. The martial arts is interesting, and watching these masters of their craft go against each other is really like high octane, exhilarating, and even like some of the character studies and just diving into some of the characters that they do in this last part, it makes you actually kind of care even more for the characters and want to see certain ones win. I think this was probably one of the weaker parts, just because there weren't as many fight scenes and the episodes were drawn out a little bit just to cover the episode count, I think. But that it makes kind of sense since we were in the semifinals and then the finals, so it checks out. But or quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, but all around it was a good time, and I think it finished and wrapped up in a nice pretty little bow, had a nice beautiful ending, and all around I really enjoy this. I think it's a solid B tier. Now, oh boy, we have Failure Frame. This, I am so confused about this show, because at the beginning the CG was awful. I mean, like 26, even slightly worse than 2016 Berserk bad. Like, that's how bad the CG looked. It kind of looked off-putting. It didn't look good at all. But I stuck with it, because this story at least tries to do something new and interesting with the Isekai trope, with making the main character have like 0 abilities except for status ailments, which are always just kind of cool. And you know, there was a time where I was like, oh, he's only going to spam use these 3 status ailments and that's it. And then he unlocks more status ailments. So it kept me hooked with that edgy, new-ish spin. But after they took a week hiatus, it got better. Like, it actually was good animation. Not amazing, not phenomenal, but it was serviceable and it was good and entertaining to watch. It was easy on the eyes. And it kept that quality for multiple episodes. And then in the most recent episodes, it fell back into the really god-awful, horrible CG that looks really clunky, ugly to look at. Whenever there's a big fight or something quick has to happen, they switch. It's almost jarring. It gives you whiplash with how fast and quick they switch from the clean animation to the ugly CG. And I'm a component for CG. It can be done really, really well, as shown with what Studio Orange does. And even Mappa did CG great in Attack on Titan. This is not good CG, and it reminds me a lot of I got a cheat skill in another world, so I became overpowered in this one too. Correct me on the title if I'm wrong. But just that, like, really polished, almost like real... I don't know how to... It looks like it's eye candy. It draws you in with how, like, clean and crisp and polished things look, and then out of nowhere it just switches to CG and it looks bad. So with the flip-flopping of the animation, and that's really the only downside to this show, is the flip-flopping of animation. It almost feels lazy at times. I gotta put it C tier. I'm gonna put it top of C tier, but I'm gonna put it C tier. Now we have My Hero Season 7. What do I say about Season 7? Well, it's pretty dang good. The fights, the emotions, Shoto versus Dabi, Endeavor and Hawks versus All for One. It's, oh my god, it's good. The animation's clean. Deku switching gears and coming back to fight Shigaraki. Amazing. The music, gorgeous. It has you on the edge of your seat. Some of the villains coming back to help. Oh my god. This show just keeps ramping up, and it keeps... Bakugo versus Shigaraki was amazing. Like, there's so many great things about this season that I don't know. It's hard to recommend My Hero solely based off of how cringy and bad the fan base can be. Like, it's almost obscenely bad. But the animation, the music, the fight scenes, the storytelling, the voice acting, everything is going amazingly for My Hero. I have to put this S tier. I have to. But speaking of disappointing, we have Tower of God Season 2. Season 1 was really good. I actually kind of liked the animation in Season 1. Then they got a new animation studio for Season 2, and it doesn't look good. There's scenes where it's like a slideshow. It's the 7 deadly frames. The story's not good enough yet to make up for the lazy, bad animation. And it sucks because I want to enjoy this. And I know it's going to continue into fall season with this new workshop battle arc. And I am praying it gets better. But as of right now, Tower of God has just been a big disappointment. There were to start the season, it started off good. The animation was great, but it fell off. 7 deadly frames. And nothing about this show can really, unless the animation gets better in the fight scenes, I feel like this is going to fall down to D tier. For now, I think it belongs top of C. Now we have I Parry Everything. This show has everything going for it, except for one thing. The main character is annoying. I mean, the show has clever titles like I Parry a Cow, where he parries a Minotaur. I parry Divine Judgment. I parry a dragon. I parry an entire army. I mean, man's literally can parry everything. He's literally Dark Souls Sekiro, the anime. And it's fun. It's entertaining. The one thing I hate about this show is that the main character, even after he does all these amazing feats, never realizes that he's really strong. He always thinks he's weak or he doesn't deserve anything, and it never crosses his mind. And nobody ever tells him, really. Nobody is ever like, yo, dude, you are the strongest person in this entire nation. Like, what are you doing? That naivete really, I think, drags it down a little bit and makes it kind of annoying at times. But the animation's good, the story's fun, the characters are interesting, and the music's pretty dang alright as well. And the main character is in his late 20s, early 30s. So it's a good show. I just wish Nor would actually realize he was strong. But I'll put a B tier. Now we have the strongest magician in the Demon Lord's army is actually a human. This is bad. The animation's stale. The story's not interesting. It tries to do a help thing almost, where they're trying to unite the humans and the Demon Lord and the demons. But Helk actually had an interesting and fun story. The main character drew you towards him. Felt like He-Man a little bit. And this main character's just bland. He's just generic, and it doesn't do anything interesting. Trash. Spice and Wolf, I'm sorry. I watched the first couple episodes. I know I was really, really, really excited to see them continue after spring. And I really wish I have, because I've heard some good things, but I haven't watched it. I'm sorry. I know. The relationship between Hollow and Craft is really wholesome. Learning about economics is actually kind of interesting. I just haven't gotten around to it with how many anime and games are coming out, and I have a feeling it's going to be a while before I get back to it. But let us know in the comments what you think of Spice and Wolf, because it actually is a pretty good show, and I should continue it. And the reason I haven't is because of shows like this, which are absolute garbage. Why does nobody remember me in Another World? Interesting premise, where the main character is he's in a world where the humans won and they're like the dominant species, and then he gets transported into another world where the humans actually ended up losing the Great War and are on the brink of destruction, and nobody remembers who he is. Nobody knows. And so he has to be the new hero, except the animation feels lazy, the fight scenes are slow and sluggish. You end up being like, dude, just go do something. So with that being said, this also goes in trash. Now we'll get through a lot of the romances really quick, because I've watched a couple episodes but haven't finished them. Too Many Losing Heroines is fun. It's entertaining. It hits you in the feels. It feels real. And you kind of feel for the main guy right there. But it's cute, and the animation's really good. You would not expect this level of animation from something like this, in my opinion. It reminds me a lot of stuff like Violet Evergarden with Kyoto Animation. Beautiful. So with that, I'm going to put a B tier. I need to finish it. Now we have 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. You know, everybody has their tastes. It's reminds me a lot of Dress Up Darling, but taken to the extreme. Yeah. C tier. Next we got Oversized Elf. Hey man, to each their own. To each their own. Not my cup of tea, but to each their own. And if you have High Dive, you can watch it that way too. If you know, you know. All right, Mayanaka Punch. I need to finish this. It's so much fun watching this YouTuber who gets kicked out of her YouTube group for punching one of her cast members, and so she ends up creating a new YouTube group with Vampire Family, and it's so much fun, and I feel like it captures the energy of making YouTube videos, because at the end of the day, we just want to make content on what we really enjoy, and that's what she's trying to do. And I don't know, I think this checks all the boxes and is really well done. A tier. Now we have where did it go? Days with My Stepsister. I believe that's what it's called. I haven't watched it. However, I've heard it's not what it sounds like, and actually is a really heart-pulling, can make you cry kind of story. Let us know in the comments if it's worth a watch. I haven't watched it yet. I know Brennan hasn't watched it, but I've heard surprisingly really good things. So on that, we'll put it C tier. If it needs to go higher, we'll go higher. Now we have, oh boy, this is quite the title. I tell you guys what. We have the Osan Nubia adventurer trained to death by the most powerful party became invincible. This does what this failed to do, where the main character starts off weak. He's in his 30s, and I think that's one of the things these two anime do really well, is they let you know that it's never too late for you to start doing what you want. If your dreams come later in life, so be it. Chase after them, and no matter what your age, you can get it. You can become a ridiculously overpowered guy that can destroy planets, or parry literally everything and be a god. So, never give up. But this is so entertaining that the opening to this anime is one of my favorite openings recently. It reminds me of 90s anime openings, and it fits so well. It reminds me of Shangri-La from Dragon Ball. Oh my god, do yourself a favor, listen to it, watch the anime opening. It's just fun. This show is fun. He's ridiculously overpowered because he trained basically to death millions of times with the strongest party, and nothing about this, and the animation's pretty darn good. Like, it's serviceable. This has been a fun time. I never watch one of these episodes without leaving with a smile on my face. A tier. And speaking of weird and funny, we have No Longer Allowed in Another World. Yes, this covers Osamu Dazai, who is look him up. He was an actual person who lived a very, very tragic life. And now they animate him. Woo! Now he's a wacky, goofy man. Kinda. He's basically trying to toaster bath all the time in the other world, and his plots always get thwarted. But his ability is to write stories about people's lives, and so he takes interest in all the saddest and darkest people's lives and writes stories about them. And this show pulls on your heartstrings more than a show like this should. The action's not bad, but that's not the main point of this. And I think they do a decent job with Osamu Dazai. No, is he my favorite iteration of Dazai? No. But I think they did a pretty decent job. And I think this at least deserves B tier. Oh boy. My dear friend Nokatan. This show requires one brain cell, maybe half a brain cell. But by God, does that half a brain cell have some of the most fun. The opening is cute. It has funny references to Dark Souls and Tokyo Ghoul. But dude, I don't know what's happening. There are episodes where her antlers turn into bombs. She's fighting mascots. She's winning pageants. She's becoming a deer god. She grows monster-eating plants. I mean, dude, it's all over the place. But it's entertaining as crap. There's just like with this, there's never an episode where I'm not smiling and laughing and happy afterwards. So as dumb as it is, it deserves S tier. I had so much freaking fun watching this show. So stupid. Only takes half a brain cell, but it is some of the most fun that brain cell will have. Now we have the Sewer Slide anime Isekai. This was a lot better than I think people give it credit for. Wit Studio knocked it out of the park. The ending is really good. Weird seeing Amanda Waller bust some moves, but it's good. And I think this is some of the best we've seen some of these characters. Harley Quinn, phenomenal performance. Clayface was, his typical flashy self. Deadshot was great. Peacemaker, King Shark. I mean, dude, this show did, I think, Suicide Squad very, very well. The animation was clean. It was good. The action scenes were actually extremely really good. and entertaining. The camera angles, it felt like Attack on Titan. I mean, same studio. So Wit Studio knocked it out of the park. I think this deserves a lot more recognition. A tier. I'll be honest, I need to get into Fairy Tail. I know there's some things that happen, some fan service that happens in this season, so need to get to it. Anyways, now we have The Elusive Samurai. What a magnificent show. The first episode hooks you in, and you are in it for the long haul. The opening is so fun and catchy, and just and I love it when in the opening has the main character singing or dancing along to the song, and this does it so well. And the animation, Clover works. Chef's kiss. You have done beautiful work. I'm so excited to see more of this. I want to see the ending to it. It has such a great story about this, to my understanding, a real clan that is trying to get revenge on another clan that overthrew the shogunate. And all around, the story, the characters, the animation, the music, A tier. Actually, I think it's top of A tier. It's close to S tier, but it's not yet. However, Bye Bye Earth. This is weird. I don't know what was happening. It kind of makes me confused. The music was amazing. I will give Kevin Pinkin, I believe that's his name, his props. The music, beautiful. The story animation, no idea what was going on. The pacing was god awful, and some of the writing just didn't make sense. D tier. Nier Automata, doing its job. I want to play the games again. I want to go back and play Nier Replicant and Nier Automata. Amazing music, great action scenes, heart-throbbing story. I know Nier has one of the best stories in all of JRPGs, to my understanding. A tier. I haven't watched Code Geass. Let us know how it is. However, the other show that's in Disney jail is Mission of Yozakura Family, continuing from spring. The animation's been getting better. The action scenes are better. It literally is the Zoldyk family, but wacky and campy. But it does have some serious moments too. Really, really good. I just hate that Disney doesn't anticipate people watching their stuff and does not advertise their stuff. Why? Why would you not anticipate and advertise your shows? Disney jail is it's worse than Netflix jail. Netflix at least advertises their anime a lot. Disney doesn't, ever. There's so many great shows that are stuck in Disney jail that people have never heard of or aren't able to watch because they don't know they exist. Like Undead Unluck. That show was amazing. Summertime Rendering, phenomenal. Heavenly Delusion, downright close to masterpiece. What the heck is Disney doing? This is fun. It's entertaining. Now, is it the greatest thing ever? No. But I do think it's really good. I think it deserves high B tier. This also gives an interesting trope spin on the gaming and Isekai genre in Quality Assurance in Another World. Basically, quality assurance testers are now stuck in the game that they're trying to, do quality assurance for, and they have to report bugs and take care of people that are abusing dev settings. And it's kind of fun, especially when they walk up on people that are an entire village that's just T-posing because their animations weren't finished yet. B tier. Yatagarasu. This is like Tower of God. It is so disappointing because I was enjoying it. I loved it. Despite what our last video said, I really enjoyed this show. However, the fact that it took multiple hiatuses, I don't know what was going on. It took multiple hiatuses, and then it took a 3-week hiatus, and I know they had to take some for the Olympics. But just the amount it took, it lost all the steam it had. It was a great story. It could be even better now. I just don't know if I care enough to watch it, especially with a lot of the shows and games coming out soon. I don't know if I have the drive to go watch it again. So I gotta put it D tier. It's better than Bye Bye Earth. The only thing that's bad about the show is the delays. However, Reincarnated as a Slime Season 3. I love this show. I absolutely love Rimuru and crew. However, this season has been extremely boring. And I hate that because you have to get through it to get to the apparently the really, really good stuff, because there's some amazing stuff on the horizon, to my understanding. But by God, is this season so boring? Hear me out. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't expect world building in your world building isekai. There are ways to do that are more entertaining and fun to watch than what Reincarnated as a Slime is doing, because it's literally just almost like still frames of people sitting in a room talking. That's it. That's like a majority of this season, and it's so boring. Like, yeah, I know I like the characters, I like the world, but God, you gotta make it interesting. Gotta throw us a little bone here and there. So with that being said, it's bottom C tier. Now we have our final two shows. Oshinoko Season 2, in my opinion, well, it's better than Season 1. It pulls on your heartstrings a lot. Aqua, whoever the voice actor for Aqua is, I think it's between Aqua and Sung Jin Woo for Best Japanese Male Voice Actor, because wow. Aqua's been doing such a great job, and just hearing his pain, you can feel the pain when he screams, when he just throws everything away and tries to make himself miserable so that he doesn't feel guilty for being happy. His relationship with Akane, the things she knows that he doesn't realize she knows. That huge twist at the end of the most recent episode at the graveyard. Everything about this show is amazing. The music. This show also had no right to have such amazing choreography and animation and camera angles for their fight scenes during this theater arc, but by God, they did. So, just amazing. Some of the best this season. If you haven't watched Oshinoko, do yourself a favor, watch it. It's worth it. I think in my limited experience of theater, I think it did at least encapsulate the theater process, as well as how it feels to actually go on and do a show reasonably well. And I'm going to try and get Brennan to watch this show, so maybe he could be able to attest to that. All around, this is S tier. And last, but definitely not least, we have Wistoria 1 and Sword. The most recent episode came out today, and my jaw was on the floor. The music, gorgeous. The animation, gorgeous. The story hits you hard. You love Will and Sion and all of the rest of them. And you want them to succeed. And they're fighting this big bad demon. Oh my God. I don't want to spoil it, but wow. Just wow. And of course, it's nothing new. It's not unique. In a sense, we have seen this story before, where a guy with no magic goes to in a world where magic is prevalent, wields a giant sword. Kind of sounds like Black Clover, which makes sense because it's from the creator of Black Clover. But I think it differentiates itself enough and makes itself feel like its own thing that you really end up enjoying this and having a fun ass time. The animation is some of the best you will ever see. So as of right now, that includes stuff like Fate, Demon Slayer, JJK. The studio behind this has done a phenomenal job. Absolutely gorgeous animation. The choreography, the writing, the character development, you love everything about this show. You want Will to be able to climb the tower and meet with his friend, become a Magia Vander. Everything about this show is just peak. S tier. Now, with that being said, this is our list for the summer 2024 anime. As you can see, there are a lot of shows I didn't watch, so let us know in the comments what shows were your favorite. Make sure to subscribe for more geek content, and until then, keep on geeking on.